Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty.
Wikipedia actually did something very strange, and this has to do with the snow job that Leon was just starting to segue into. But
Yeah.
Wikipedia had just changed the definition to it had included two negative growth quarters, two negative quarters of GDP, and that was part of the standard definition. And then suddenly it got removed, and then they locked editing. So they are saying that that's what we're going with. And this really disturbs me. I've heard, I think it's Sanger was one of the
co-founders. He was one of the co-founders of Wikipedia, yes.
Yes, and he's talked about this before too. I've seen an interview with him where he talked about how he thought this was going in a disturbing trend with Wikipedia, where they tended to be taking kind of left-wing narratives in some of their articles, and I really think that what Wikipedia does is just an awesome thing that they put together this free encyclopedia, and I've been a donor to it before in the past, and I tell you, I really question doing that in the future if I know that this is just going to be some kind of propaganda mill now for the Democrat Party. Anyways, and not just this, and Leon mentioned too, some of the other hacks in the media like Paul Krugman, and we'll talk about him in a second. But what do you guys think about this? I mean, essentially the social media and some of these other information websites coming out and just going along with whatever benefits the Democrat Party, that suddenly the language just changes. And we've seen the same thing happen too with, I believe, the definition of a woman has been changing on the fly too on a lot of these websites as well, and even dictionary type websites. Just absolutely disturbing. What do you guys think? It looks like we lost Tim. Hopefully we get him back soon.
But you see, this is the problem, Jason. This is the big problem, is that we have the media and government getting together to provide the very disinformation they're trying to complain about. Okay, because since God knows how long, we have always accepted the definition of what a recession is, but that's not good enough now because Biden is in the White House. Oh, we know what a woman is all along. That's not good enough, because Biden is the White House. We got to make sure that we have the right, quote unquote, the right definition to be so inclusive. But everything now is just left-wing politics infecting all of our lives. Whether we are talking about the schools, whether we're talking about biology, science, economics, left-wing politics is now infecting it, and infecting it in a very bad way. And this is not good for our society in general, because if science, which is really supposed to be the seeker of truth, okay.
Wait, Leon, when you talk about science in the sea, you're not talking about Tony Fauci, are you? Oh, not the science. You're just talking about science.
Yes. Because look at all the things that's going on that went on with COVID, okay? And Fauci and them gave us all this damn nonsense, most of which now have turned out to be false, okay? How many people died? I wonder how many people died because of the misinformation that came out because of COVID. Look at the use of hydroxychloroquine, which Trump endorsed. Well, Trump endorsed it, so everybody have to be against it. And they were. Doctors were disqualified. They were trying to take away people's license and all kind of stuff. But this is what's going on. The media and government is getting together to provide this information to the citizens of the United States. This is a bad trend. This is not good for our republic. And we better be very, very careful of where we go with this.
Well, and quite frankly, I don't know whether or not something like hydroxychloroquine or anything else would have been a positive or negative. But the big issue is that should be open for discussion, especially among doctors. And they were literally suppressing anyone who did not go along with the WHO's narrative or whatever narrative that the Biden administration was given later on with the COVID issues.
Well, just to round this up, Jason, it is now known that hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin are very effective treatment. When given early, a very effective treatment is a therapeutic, very effective for treating COVID. The research is there for this. Some of it came up when we were in Las Vegas, in that presentation. I think you saw the presentation too, that those things are effective treatments. But Fauci and company were suppressing it because Trump endorsed, he endorsed he didn't endorse ivermectin, but he certainly endorsed hydroxychloroquine. But these people under this information thought that was a bad thing because they wanted to push the vaccines.
Well,
so,
as far as that goes, Leon, I don't think I saw that particular one, but I certainly understand what you're talking about. But I don't want to digress too far though into COVID at this point. But I get your point is that this is infecting everything. This redefining of the language and shutting down debate and just saying that you are the science and nobody else can talk, which is the most unscientific thing you can say. But speaking of unscientific scientists, let's talk about.
I just want to say one thing about Wikipedia, if I could.
Okay.
Yeah, just it's right there next to GoFundMe. At the end of every year, around December, Wikipedia puts it out to help contribute because they just depend on contributions. Blah blah blah, and I've typically given them money at the end of the year. That ends as of now. Okay, Wikipedia, and it wasn't much. I'm sorry, but I hope you go under. Again, I hope all these so-called, free information sites that are only free by maybe direct cost, but they're not free to speak as it's not a free platform. In other words, anymore. It's gone. Yes. No longer does it serve a purpose for me. So therefore, they can go pound sand.
One thing I would say though is that when they say you talk about these free services that sort of stab you in the back, like McAfee would talk about. I don't think though that Wikipedia is not that type of thing. They're not selling your information as far as I know or anything like that. It's just an issue that they've got a bunch of lefties that have sort of infected their structure, their organization, exactly, and they're steering the content, I guess, and that's one of the issues. Hopefully, they can weed that out because I think, from a libertarian perspective, I mean, Wikipedia has offered an amazing service in the past. It's just really sad to see it go in this direction. Hopefully, it can be fixed and not thrown out.
Well, it's I hope they're sad to see me go in the other direction because I'm not giving them another dime.
Yeah.
And sorry, it's just how it is. Go ahead. There's probably plenty of ultra wealthy liberals out there that just love suppression of information. There are probably plenty of people that will give them the money I don't give them anymore. So they're not going to get it from me. That's all I have to say. That's all I can do. The only way I can control, I can't control what they do. I can just control whether or not I give them money.
Exactly, and hopefully that signal gets through to them loud and clear.
and right, exactly. I hope and pray there's a market solution to this problem, because too much of our high tech is ended up in left wing hands, and it's causing some real problems in our society. But I hope there's a market solution to this problem. I really do.
Yeah.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, always and forever.